Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're doing something a bit different.
hmm
Instead of wading through a whole stack of sources, we're really zooming in on one, a single, incredibly significant text.
Right.
It's a powerful discussion centered on John 17, verse 3. And, this isn't just any verse.
Yeah, not at all.
Our source presents it as defining eternal life itself, like the actual definition.
Exactly.
So our mission today,
hmm
we want to unpack the core declaration of this verse, really get into it,
Understand what it's saying.
and also understand what our source describes as this, relentless battle to obscure this vital knowledge.
In battle, yeah.
We'll look at why it's considered unassailable, why it stands so firm, and most importantly, what all this might mean for your listening.
And it's key to grasp that this knowledge, according to the source, isn't just some, abstract theological idea.
Right.
It's framed as the absolute foundation of eternal life, the bedrock,
Okay.
which, of course, makes it a prime target for what the source calls an adversary.
Makes sense, if it's that important.
Precisely. So this deep dive, it should really illuminate the precise meaning of the verse, the threat it faces, and why it's presented as so certain. Hopefully it'll help you cut through any confusion and gain some real clarity.
Okay, let's jump right in at this foundational declaration, John 17, verse 3. I'm quoting directly from our source here.
hmm
This is eternal life. It is the knowledge of the only true God, exclusive in his divinity, singular in his truth, and of Jesus Christ, the one sent by him.
Yeah, and notice it's not presented as just some vague feeling or sentiment.
No, it feels very specific.
Our source really emphasizes that. It's a precise revelation, and when it talks about knowledge,
What does that mean exactly?
well, it means a deep personal recognition, not just head knowledge. It's about recognizing the Father as, quote, the only true God without parallel.
Without parallel, strong words.
Very. And recognizing Jesus Christ as the one commissioned by divine authority. So it's not just knowing about them,
It's truly knowing.
but a profound relational way. That's the idea presented.
And here's where it gets, really impactful for me reading this. Our source explains that this knowledge is eternal life,
Yes. Not a down payment on it or a path to it later.
but the thing itself, not some distant promise way off in the future, but a present reality.
A present reality.
And it clarifies that Jesus Christ's entire mission was specifically geared towards spreading this particular profound understanding.
Making it known.
So, connecting this to you listening,
Yeah.
what might it actually feel like? What does it mean to partake in eternity now through this specific kind of knowledge?
Well, it really shifts the focus, doesn't it? From merely believing in something, maybe a set of doctrine,
Right.
to actively knowing someone, or in this case, two figures, the Father and Jesus Christ.
Right.
It implies a living connection.
Starting right now.
Exactly. One that begins now and, according to the text, changes how we understand our very existence, our purpose.
Okay, now, if the reward is that immense, it kind of stands to reason there'd be opposition, right?
You'd expect it.
And our source is very direct about this. It identifies Satan, described as the adversary,
The opponent.
and says his focus isn't necessarily on, worldly things, our possessions, or superficial stuff.
Yeah.
His primary target is undermining this very understanding, this knowledge from John 17.3.
That's precisely it. And the source details how this adversary operates. It's not random. He works, it says, through negative thoughts that negate what is true.
Okay, negative thoughts within people.
Yes, residing within people, taking root in their minds, and then spreading swiftly, often through, communicators with influence, preachers, influencers, you name it. The primary goal, according to the source, is to shroud John 17.3, rendering it dormant.
Hide it away, make it ineffective.
Yes, and instead flood the landscape with unstable verses that breed contradiction.
Cause confusion.
And the consequence of that, the source says it's critical.
Absolutely. If the clear identity of the only true God or the specific mission of Jesus Christ becomes blurred, obscured,
Then what? Then the reward is jeopardized, eternal life itself. The adversary is described pretty starkly as a thief who seeks to plunder what is rightfully ours.
oh, a thief?
And he has a specific playbook, it seems. The source describes tactics.
Smack what?
Things like employing confusion, distortion, even exploiting texts that the source calls questionable or later additions.
Questionable text.
It gives the example of a version of 1 John 5.7 found in some older translations, suggesting it's not reliable for this core doctrine.
Okay.
Also, misconstruing verses that are sound, but perhaps have some room for ambiguity if you approach them a certain way.
Finding loopholes. Sort of.
Kind of. And a key tactic mentioned is twisting Greek words with multiple meanings.
Ah, the translation issue.
Exactly. Using those multiple meanings to serve specific translation biases. And these biases, the source notes, can be influenced by all sorts of pressures.
Like,
Theological pressures, things like formal creeds, like the Nicene Creed mentioned, or even just, popular demand wanting to conform preconceived beliefs people already hold.
right, fitting the text to the belief, not the other way around.
That's the danger highlighted. Also, bending metaphorical statements into false literal ones.
Taking figures of speech too literally.
Yes. Burdening plain terms with heavy theological agendas they weren't meant to carry. Amplifying disputed texts over the really clear, certain ones.
It's a lot of ways to muddy the waters.
It is. And even allowing sort of cultural drifts over time to cloud the original truth, the overall goal. Sow discord and doubt about this core knowledge.
That is quite a strategy list. So thinking about today, we're all bombarded with information.
Yeah.
Things get twisted so easily online, everywhere.
Information overload.
How does recognizing these specific tactics, confusion, distortion, playing on ambiguity, translation bias, how does that help you listening right now discern truth from distortion? Not just here, but maybe in other areas too.
Well, it really underscores the importance of, critical thinking. And maybe going back to the clearest, most unambiguous sources you can find, rather than getting lost in all the commentary and noise, or relying on interpretations that clearly serve some other agenda.
Seek clarity where clarity actually exists.
That seems to be the message, yes.
Okay, so despite all these relentless efforts by the adversary that the source describes,
It's constant pushback.
it assures us that John 17.3 stands resolute. It holds firm.
Remarkably unchanged, it says, across various translations, acting like a steadfast shield against deception.
So what gives it that strength, that resilience?
According to the source, it's down to its incredible linguistic precision.
It's linguistic precision.
Yeah, think of it like a carefully drafted legal document. Every single word is chosen for a very exact reason, leaving ideally no room for misinterpretation.
Okay, give us an example.
We'll take the phrase only true God. In the original Greek, it's monos alethinos theos.
Monos alatinos theos.
Right. Monos means only or alone, emphasizing exclusivity.
Just one.
And alethinos means true or genuine, underscoring authenticity, real, not counterfeit. And the source explains that Jesus deliberately uses a specific grammatical construction here, the accusative case that points directly to the Father and only the Father as the unyielding object of our eternal knowledge.
So the grammar itself identifies the Father as the sole true God.
That's the argument. Similarly, with Jesus Christ whom you have sent, the Greek word for sent here is apostello.
Apostello.
It means specifically to send forth with a commission, highlighting Jesus Christ's divine mandate. He's on a specific mission from the Father.
So it's not just the words chosen, but how they're actually put together in the sentence. That makes it strong.
Exactly. The sentence structure itself reinforces this clarity. In the Greek, you, referring clearly to the Father, is directly equated with the only true God.
Like an equal sign in grammar.
Pretty much, yeah. It's called an appositional construction. Makes their identity unmistakable in the context of the prayer. And the clause, whom you have sent, clearly describes Jesus Christ.
No ambiguity there.
None claimed by the source. It means, as the source puts it plainly, the Father is the only true God, and Jesus Christ is his commissioned emissary. Full stop.
And when Jesus affirms the Father as alethinos theos,
it means genuinely God, exclusively God, singular in both function and essence. That's the interpretation provided.
What about the phrasing, whom you have sent? Why not just say me?
Ah, good point.
Mm.
The source highlights this deliberate use of the third person whom you have sent. It suggests this underscores Jesus' distinct role in his divine commission.
Separates him slightly in that moment of prayer.
In a way that highlights his role as the sent one. It invests him with divine authority, a God-given glory, which lends immense weight to his declaration about the Father.
Okay.
And interestingly, the source connects this to glorifying the Father as greater, which is consistent with other places where Jesus says things like, the Father is greater than I.
It fits together.
It does. And finally, just on the clarity point, the subjects and pronouns are totally unambiguous. You is the Father. Jesus Christ is the one sent. Sent is the action linking them. All of this, the source argues, solidifies the verse's authority and prevents misunderstanding.
It really sounds like, as the source puts it,
Jesus delivered this.
with such remarkable exactness, almost as an act of benevolence,
A kindness, yes.
so that we wouldn't stumble over its meaning, so it would be crystal clear.
That's the implication. He wanted this core truth to be unmistakable. And this precision, it extends to the word know itself in this verse.
Ah, right. Knowledge is eternal life. What about the word know?
Well, this knowledge, it's described as imperative to salvation, absolutely essential.
Optional.
Not optional. And crucially, it's not presented as a passive awareness, like, oh yeah, I've heard of them.
Right, not just ticking a box.
No. It's framed as an active command. It demands choosing life by genuinely knowing the Father, the only true God, not through embracing falsehoods or distorted ideas about him.
The knowledge has to be authentic.
Absolutely. The source makes a powerful statement here. If one claims to know him yet disobeys his commands, he is a liar.
Strong words again.
Very. It ties knowing directly to obedience. It calls for active obedience and a clear, unwavering proclamation of the specific truth about the Father and the Son.
So for you listening, what does it truly mean then to actively know this truth? Not just intellectually grasp it, but to live it out. What might that look like day to day?
Yeah, that's the challenge, isn't it? It's not just about belief, sort of held in the mind. It's about alignment,
Alignment.
where our actions, our choices, maybe even our quiet thoughts start to reflect this core understanding. It transforms what we think we know into how we actually live.
Which brings us right back to why adhering it specifically to John 17.3 is presented as so critical.
Paramount, yes.
Our source describes it as first, precise, spoken by the Christ himself.
Right. And therefore not subject to human alteration. It is what it is.
And second, it's constant.
Meaning its affirmation of the only true God and Jesus Christ sent by him endures across time, across translations, without significant variation. This secures the knowledge, makes it reliable.
Okay, but what about other verses? People quote lots of different things.
That's a key point the source addresses. It argues that to genuinely negate this declaration from John 17.3,
To overturn it, essentially.
yes, one would need to present another verse of equal, undeniable strength. It would have to carry the same doctrinal weight, the same promise of eternal life, and crucially, be uttered as Jesus' own words in his high priestly prayer delivered as a dying declaration.
That specific conte.
That very specific, weighty context. And the source states flatly, no such verse exists.
So other famous declarations, like for God to love the world, or I am the way, the truth, and the life.
Or even not my will, but yours be done.
What about those?
The source argues they don't contradict John 17.3 at all. In fact, they support it. They affirm the Father's ultimate authority, God loving the world, his will being done. And they affirm Jesus Christ's specific mission being the way because he was sent. They fit within the framework John 17.3 establishes.
Okay, so it's not just standing alone, it's also supported.
Precisely. This core proclamation, it says, is upheld by a plethora of verses, a wealth of them, across both the Old and New Testaments.
Can you give examples?
Sure, it mentions verses like, have we not all one Father? Or one God created us from the Old Testament. Or the Lord, he is God, there is none else beside him. And in the New Testament, Paul saying to us, there is but one God, the Father.
Lots of consistent testimony then.
Yes, yet the source emphasizes John 17.3 stands alone in its supremacy.
Why Sagreem?
Because Jesus, presented as far greater than all these writers, spoke it himself with unique divine authority in that specific prayer.
Okay, what about verses that seem more complex, like I and the Father are one?
Oh.
People sometimes use that differently.
Right, the source touches on that too. It clarifies that statements like, I and the Father are one, aren't necessarily the problem in themselves.
What is then?
The issue arises, it suggests, when additions are made, like tacking the word God onto the end, changing the meaning or implication. The argument is that John 17.3, with its unmistakable clarity, must remain the anchor, the reference point for understanding everything else.
Interpretive key, perhaps.
That seems to be the idea. It provides the essential framework.
And this brings us right back to the adversary, doesn't it? His desire for confusion.
Exactly.
This verse, John 17.3, is presented as cutting through all that potential distortion. It directs us with crucial clarity to the only true God and his sent Christ, demanding our singular focus, as the source puts it.
Which leads to a really crucial question, actually, embedded in the verse itself. Who are the they?
Do they know you?
Right.
Who's Jesus praying for there?
Our source defines the they as those for whom Christ intercedes, also as those granted the privilege of this knowledge. Ultimately, they are the recipients of eternal life.
So, in this prayer, Jesus is speaking of his own, those specifically called to know the only true God and to know him, Jesus Christ.
Yes. But crucially, our source makes it clear this they isn't some exclusive closed-off circle.
It's not a private club,
No, it's presented as an open invitation.
an invitation to join the day.
Exactly. So the source essentially poses the question directly to you, the listener. Do you belong?
Belong with the they.
Yes. Are you among those who affirm the Father as the only true God, who embrace Jesus Christ as his sent emissary? It lays out the defining characteristics.
And it brings back the adversary.
Right. Saying the adversary seeks to lure you away from this company with lies and distractions, trying to pull you out of that group, but the choice remains yours. It's presented as a conscious decision. To know them, the Father in Jesus Christ, as John 17.3 declares.
What does that mean?
It means to stand with the they, to claim the reward Christ secures, and ultimately to be a true believer, as defined by this core knowledge.
It's about alignment without specific truth.
It seems so, as Jesus himself declared elsewhere in John chapter 4, verse 23.
What did he say there?
True worshipers shall worship the Father in spirit and in truth. It's about that genuine, precise, truthful alignment with who the Father is and who Jesus is in relation to him.
And that, really, you see, is the profound contest laid out before us in this source.
A clear contrast.
To know the only true God and Jesus Christ whom he has sent, that is eternal life.
The definition given.
And it is precisely that knowledge, that relationship, which the adversary seeks to undermine, to obscure, to steal.
According to the source, yes.
But John 17.3 stands resolute. It's presented as our unshakable foundation, our clear anchor point.
So maybe the final thought to leave you with as you reflect on all this, what does it truly signify? What are the implications of knowing them, the Father and Christ, as they are revealed with such precision right here in this verse?
And perhaps more personally,
Where do you stand? Are you right now among the they who truly do know them in this way?
powerful questions to consider. We invite you to continue exploring these ideas on your own. Perhaps revisit the source material yourself, or just sit with the clarity this deep dive might have offered.
Mull it over.
Thank you for joining us today on Deep Dive. Until next time, may you find ever-increasing clarity.